I have to say too that in my experience working in social services, and I've worked in adult services for many years, and I would say even 5 years ago that we didn't really recognize homelessness necessarily. We would see it as an individual issue. And I think where we've come to over the last few years is to recognize that homelessness is the thing we have to deal with first. It is the foundation to everything. If we can house somebody, then we can address all the issues around chemical dependency and mental illness and connecting people to resources. But without that place to start, that foundation, a place to live, we can't even find people to connect with them and engage in the support services that we want to provide for them. It makes everything work if we can have them have a place to live and support them in that. So I think that too is where we need to come to in serving homeless youth, is we can try to serve them with employment and all of these things, but if they don't have a place to live, how can we bring those other things to them?
Thank you. I'm going to move on to the next question just to make sure that we...
Excuse me.
Okay, one more.
My name is George Thompson. I've been in this community for quite a while. Last fall, my son, working with an organization called Boulder Options, presented me with an opportunity to visit with a gentleman here who's in the audience that's been homeless since he's been 13 years old. He's now going out at the community college, and I just wanted to give him a few minutes to say a few things to support perhaps Henry. Henry, we were a little late because Martell was in studying out at RCTC, but I think Martell resonated with some of the things that were said earlier about what it's like to be not knowing where you're going to spend the night at, and having grown up in a rather chaotic movement type of an existence. And I know that most of the folks in here are a little bit older than he is, but Martell, just stand up a few minutes if you would, and just, if you would just give us, and we'll be kind of brief. But I think it's important to really understand that it may seem so easy to say, well, just go one place and we'll resolve things. I think it's a really wonderful idea, but kids come from all kinds of different environments and circumstances, and their parents move for all kinds of different reasons. And some of those may not be alcohol, they may not be drug related, but it could be an economic situation. So I have asked Martell if he'd come over and just share a couple of minutes. You heard a few things. I think the lady's name over there, Teresa? Yes, he was going, yep, I can remember some of those things.
You just kind of put me on the spot, I guess. But, yeah, I applaud you for the hard struggles you went through. I think it's slightly different for being up here in Rochester and being homeless, because in Minneapolis, everyone's referred to so many different places and it's all connected. I think it's very cohesive and coherent on everything that they do and say, and brochures that they have. If you go one place, okay, well, if you come here, we're gonna help you get here, and this is how we're gonna do it. The bus system, you guys talked about that, how it's not, running after a certain time. In Minneapolis, it runs to 1 in the morning, So, and even still, I remember having to walk places, maybe borrow a bike or 2 or 3, or, and this is different for everyone. When I was homeless, it was because my mom couldn't take care of me and my siblings, and rather than me having to live with someone that was mentally unstable, I felt it was the best choice for me to try to do it on my own. That was an option, kinda. Some people aren't given that option. It's taken away from them at some time and point. And I just feel like it's all depending on where you're from and how you perceive it is how it'll be taken, I think in Minneapolis is a lot more homeless people than there is here, because people are so informed, okay, well, they're homeless, they're doing perfectly fine. You can get out and you can do it too. And that's kind of how it is. Like people, it's like, okay, there's so many different people like yourselves here, there's like, we can help. And that's the same how it is. It's like triple that in Minneapolis, So people see that and they're like, okay, the best thing for us to do is be homeless. You know, some people choose to be homeless because they see their friends doing it. It's how people look at it, and I guess I don't know kind of how to say that, but
I just thought I'd get Martell to let you know that there are a number of other folks in the room that have had the experience and can also be a potential resource. Daryl sent Martell down to me through the program Boulder Options. Martell is now going out at the community college and is doing a good job in terms of his grades, and we're real proud of him. We think he's got a great opportunity to move himself out of the circle of poverty.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to the next question here. This is directed to Mary Gorfine. How are you, as organizations, currently collaborating? Oops. Okay. How are you, as organizations, currently collaborating on the issue of youth homelessness?
As Wendy and Corrine talked about, it is hard because of data privacy. One thing I have to say about data privacy is sometimes it's used to stop the conversation. You know, we can't work together, and I'm not saying that Wendy is saying that, but sometimes people say, we can't share this information because of data privacy, so it shuts conversation down. So maybe there are issues with data privacy we can't get around, but instead of thinking about what we can't do, think about what we can do with data privacy. Mary had a good idea with, and I know in the Justice and Opportunity for Youth program, that coordinator gets permission from the families of the children who are in that program to access the computer system at the schools, I forget what it's called, to check on attendance and grades. It's a sign-off she gets from the parents. So there may be some ways to get around some of those issues, and I hate to see that as a conversation stopper when we say data privacy. Some of the things Youth Commission does, we have partnered for a long time with the LINK program. Last fall we're not a fundraising organization, but we do collect things for youth serving organizations, and we had great success actually last fall out in front of Hy-Vee North and Hy-Vee South with signs and boxes and a list of things that would be useful to kids who are homeless or living in apartments on their own and trying to support themselves, asking the shoppers, would you just pick up some toothpaste, some toilet paper, some Kleenex, some canned food? And the response was very good. That is a drop in the bucket towards the need that is out there. I was very excited when Leadership Greater Rochester, Desiree, wherever she is, contacted me. There she is over there, contacted me this winter about ways that we could partner, and that's one of the reasons I'm here. I've tried to be helpful with their project, and I'm hoping we can stay active partners. To the conclusion of this, we're a community that loves to have meetings. We love to have forums. And then we think we've done something because we've had a meeting and we had a panel and we had some discussion, and aren't we terrific? We had this meeting. We're now aware of homeless youth. What we're not nearly as good at is following through on ideas that may come up at a forum like this for how we can actually tackle the problem, and that's the hard work. This is easy. Coming here, a lot of us are getting paid to be here. This is during our regular workday. This is the easy part.
Maybe it's a good segue